I'm like, no, let's talk about it. Like, tell me why you're sad. Tell me why you're feeling angry.
Even the young kids noticing this is all real. These emotions are all real.
Welcome to Lulubug's podcast for parents, where we empower you with the tools to help children become confident, resilient, and ready for life's adventures. Hosted by creator of Lulubug's Garden, Jil Hunter, and child psychiatrist, Dr. Karen Menotis.
I'm so excited to have you here, Kaycee, and you're our first guest on the Lulubug's podcast for parents. And Karen and I are so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
This is actually really special to me that she's here and that she accepted the invite. Where do I even start? So it was maybe like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, could be. We were doing Pilates at a local Pilates place, and we're doing our little reformer routine
right next to each other.
Right next to each other. That's correct. And she looked over at me and she said, "Is Ben Hunter your son?"
Yes, correct.
And I said, "Yes, Ben is my son. And who are you?" And we just kind of got talking. And she just said, "Hey, Jill, I don't know if you know, but now you're going to get a little teary, that emotional on this. I don't know if you know, but your son takes my son to lunch sometimes. And it makes my son so happy because my son has really, really been struggling. And it's been so nice that Ben has been there for him." And I had not heard of this. And Kaycee got very teary in this moment. And I knew how much it meant to her that someone out there gave her son a little love, a little hope, made his day a little brighter. So we entered the conversation a little bit. She shared with me why her son was struggling a little bit. And I could just feel her pain that we carry as parents when our children are struggling and if they are not the happiest versions of themselves. And in that moment, I just could feel that pain. And it was just another little child that was struggling. And in that moment, I just thought, God, there's got to be something I can do that's bigger than what I'm already doing, because it really just always touches my heart when these kids struggle.
Right.
And right away, we just got talking. And I was telling you, I was trying to put this event on and you offered to help.
Yes, I did. Happily.
Yes. And the first event was a little smaller. And then it was you who had this. I just saw it in you. You were just the go-getter. You're like, let's do things big. We can do more. We can do bigger and greater. And you were just so fun to work with. You're such an optimistic person, someone that sees the glass half full, someone that looks for solution and looks for hope. And I saw that in the way you were dealing with the struggles that your son had too. It wasn't putting you, I mean, of course it was really sad, but you were looking for answers.
Right.
And you were going to you were going to find the answers.
I was going to fix it. Yes.
Yes. You were going to go and you were fixing it, helping him and going big. And you were such an inspiration to me because my heart, as we've talked in podcasts before this, my heart has really been soft for children that struggle because I just don't feel like they should. They should be children and have sell lemonades on the side of the road and smile and walk barefoot and have dirty faces. I'm just kidding.
Absolutely.
But so I want to thank you for pushing me into direction I would have never pushed myself into. And I always tell Kaycee that this whole Lulubug's Garden show, this podcast, meeting Karen, which was at one of Kaycee's events, all wouldn't have happened because of your little seed that you planted in me to go bigger.
Way too much credit, but thank you for that. Like obviously this is a near and dear topic on my heart, and my son was struggling really bad when I first sat on that reformer with Jill, and it's only grown, and I've only realized this is a bigger issue than any of us even realize. And the more I've talked to people, the more I've gotten engaged in this community with mental health, the more I realize like we have to get on top of this. And so I deeply applaud you for being courageous enough to do this and to start this and to run with it, because it is so necessary and so needed. And I wish I would have had these resources back when my kids were tiny, because I mean, the difference that it would have made who knows? But I feel life-changing.
And I feel so blessed that I got to meet both of you guys in this whole process and be a part of this bigger scale initiative that's just so needed and I think is again going upstream, right? Before
Oh my gosh.
kids need it, before they start to struggle, or at least be able to identify when they're struggling.
Correct.
I don't know Kaycee as well as Jil, and I would love to hear, and for the audience to hear just a little bit about who you are, what you do, a little bit about your family.
Yes. Yeah. I am no expert, just to be clear. So, just opinions, my experiences, life. I'm a mother of 6 and my oldest is 18 and I was blessed, haha, we kind of joke, with surprise twins at the end. So, so we have, so I have 3 boys, a girl, she's now 12. And then there was a 5-year gap and then surprise twins, surprise pregnancy and surprise twins. But it has been such a roller coaster for our family. And now we can't think of life without them. And it actually has forced me to become a fully immersed parent. Like this is what I do all day, every single day. It's my family and I wouldn't change it. And I have an amazing husband who's supportive of me and allows me to be a stay-at-home mom. And so this is kind of like my wheelhouse is kids.
So cool. So you too, Jill, with 7 kids, but both of you have been moms essentially now across most of the spectrums of childhood and adolescence.
100%. Yeah.
So you've kind of seen it from different perspectives through most of your kids, which is, I think, so valuable. And also I feel like, because not only as we've talked about on the show, and you all know that I'm a child psychiatrist and specialize in child development, but I have my own kids. And so I can definitely say that even through my experience with my own kids, it changes from one to the next based on your experiences and how much you grow and learn along the way.
And the education you receive as a mother is no university could ever teach
No,
you.
absolutely not.
And it's so hand-on. And it's those moments when you're like, it doesn't all go the way you're thinking it should be going.
And every kid happens to be so different, which is maddening because when you think you have it figured out, you absolutely do not have it figured out.
Yes. You're like, why aren't you the same?
Wait,
why
wait
is
a
it not
second.
working for you?
I was so good. My other kid. What happened? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would love to hear just, you mentioned, one of your kids or maybe several of your kids, I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe you were struggling at some point.
Yes.
And I think what I would love to sort of focus a little bit on today is to understand how that looked for you and your family, but then also kind of how that helped you grow for the rest of your children.
Perfect. Yes. Great question. So my son, when he was probably 13, seemingly normal kid, just happy, good brother, really active, kind of always not like super social, but always, willing to like go out and be and have fun and be with his friends. And it kind of really quickly shifted for him at an alarming rate. Like seemingly went to bed one night, he had like the flu and then woke up the next morning, like not being able to breathe, quite frankly, like just as severe. What we have since learned was a panic attack, his first panic attack ever. And so we kind of went down like this rabbit hole of what's going on with him. How can we help him? It got so bad one night we ended up at Primary Children's because we just didn't have answers for him. And my pediatrician was like, I genuinely don't know what's going on, but let's get to the bottom of it. And that's going directly to the source. And quite frankly, it was probably one of the worst mom nights of my life. I felt completely and utterly lost and overwhelmed and out of control. Like this was something I personally couldn't fix. It wasn't a clear diagnosis of like, hey, he's got a broken arm, let's put a cast on it. It wasn't something like that. It was kind of like, here you're going to embark on a seemingly never-ending marathon of, like a severe anxiety, depression diagnosis. And it was devastating, quite frankly. And if I'm being really honest, it's something that still is very present in his life, and we deal with it. And there's ups and downs and highs and lows, and it just has affected our whole family. And how I got so involved in the mental health space was I felt like so secluded and isolated when we were going through that, especially in the beginning when I wasn't quite ready to talk about it myself. And, there's so much bad stigma around mental health, I feel like. Almost like when we were at Prime and Children's, like they wanted to talk to my son aside and would ask him questions like, are you being physically harmed? Are you in a safe space? Like it was very much like blame towards the parents. Like, what did you do to cause this? And my husband and I were looking at each other. We're like, we've done everything for this. Like he's had good education, like a loving family, support system, like you name it, opportunities for activities, like whatever he needed. And we were there for him. And so there was so much negativity around it. So we kind of just like honed in on the family during that time and really like self-isolated. And it was very lonely. And all of my kids could feel the heaviness of it. And when I finally kind of came out of my shells, when I started going back to Pilates and I not met Sweet Jill, but like opened up about her being able to help, her son being able to help my son. And it became something that I was willing to talk about. And that made a big difference for him, I think, because all of a sudden he didn't feel like it was like bad either.
A taboo
or anything. I'm like, no, this is not your fault. This is not something that you've created. And my shift of mental health completely changed where I'm like, this is not something that you've done to yourself. This is not something that, that just was a situational thing. Like this is part of his journey. And honestly, he's become stronger and better because of it. Now that he's learning how the coping mechanisms and the skills and a different mindset of like, okay, when I feel like this is what I need to do. And talk about it. And we now
Goosebumps.
And so now when I approach parenting very differently after that happened with our family, because we talk about emotions, we talk about our feelings almost. My kids probably get a little, I'm like, Mom, it's fine. I'm like, no, let's talk about it. Like, tell me why you're sad. Tell me why you're feeling angry. Talk about, so we in depth, especially with the twins, because they're still little and so malleable that this is like amazing because we talk about it openly and almost every day. And it has become a part of how our family talks. It's become part of the narrative. And it's been so healthy and therapeutic.
I love that. And that is something, I literally got goosebumps because it's because that's really when I talk to parents in my practice and when I talk to schools in my practice, because I work in schools doing consulting as well. And so much of what I talk about is creating the environment, that safe environment where it's normal. This is just normal. Like if you had a headache, you would talk about it.
Yes.
Right. And so it's just normal to say like, I am feeling really sad today, and normalizing the conversation, having sit down family dinners consistently actually has a lot of evidence to support it is helpful for just family dynamics and child development. But I think it's because it makes you have that time where you're all sitting around a table and gives that opportunity for discussion. And so really taking advantage of that time to discuss these really important things and issues and like it's anything else from the day.
And you just sharing this little story or just the way you put it in words, just how you're now in your own family, just talking about emotions so much more and how helpful it is. It really right away brings me back to this show and the idea of it. that it really is so valuable and so helpful.
It'll open up so many discussions.
Yes, discussions. And I feel like so often, I mean, we even as adults, but especially children, they feel these feelings and don't really know what they are. And
Right.
now that they can recognize or just slowly learning, oh, this emotion is this, and they have a name to it. They can talk to someone about it. They know what it is. Right away, it puts you in a totally different situation.
100%.
And then developing tools, skills that can help with them. It's really your whole life long. You're going to use these tools.
And parent education.
Yes.
Like the kids can learn all they want, but if you don't have parents backing it up and validating their feelings
For sure.
and talking about it, it kind of is a moot point, right? Like this is going to hopefully bring awareness to the kids, and then their parents are going to follow up with it. And it would be so groundbreaking for kids and parents to get on the same page with talking about it and opening up these communications when they are still tiny.
That's why, honestly, I'm so happy our first guest, because really, truly, I feel like you've lived this.
I'm curious, Kaycee,
Yes.
as from your perspective as a mom, what do you like at the time when all of this was going on, and even afterwards? Like, what type of education and tools did you wish, like, kind of now looking back, would have been available earlier on for?
This.
Okay.
I wish I would have had Lulubug's podcast for parents, because you guys are doing such a great work educating the parents, so the kids and the parents can kind of do this and tackle this together, because it's going to take both. But honestly, there's a huge gap of resources out there for kids that don't belong in a mental hospital, but
Right.
like really you can see that they're struggling. You identify it early enough where like my son's trajectory could have been shifted in a big way had I, as a mom even, and I carry some guilt with this, noticed other signs earlier on. Like kids will let you know. They will show different things, and like he started not wanting to attend school. That was a big one. There was so many different things that I'm like, if I would have had the knowledge to maybe go back, hey, what is really happening? Why is this going on? We could have opened up the dialogue sooner than when he was in a little ball crying because he just couldn't even function.
And how much of that, which is a question I get all the time,
Yeah.
is a 13-year-old boy that's now entering adolescence and is just normal for an adolescent, right? How much of that is normal versus something we need to worry about, or something we need to pay attention to, maybe not even worry about?
I think that we should pay attention to all of those signs. As a parent,
Yes.
Again, not qualified, but as a parent, I think we pay attention to all those signs and give weight to all of them, just in case it's something bigger than adolescence, just in case there's something deeper brewing. And because obviously he's my second oldest, the one that struggles is my second oldest. And my oldest had some of those similar things, drawing back a little bit, not wanting to be as involved and certain things. But for him, it was normal adolescence. But for my son, for my other son, it wasn't. So I just think as a parent, being aware and being like hypersensitive to all the different changes, especially during that time of life, I think we can open up the dialogue and just start talking about it. And so he knows that like, hey, mom's comfortable talking about this with me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about it, and teenage boys are often not the most talkative. They often don't love talking to their moms about certain things, but I just think you have uncomfortable conversations and you keep that door always open instead of being like, I'm just going to give them space. I think when kids pull away, I think that's the opposite of what they actually need. I think they need more from you when they pull away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my personal belief. And it's, it's tried and tested in our family. Whenever there's a sense of like pulling away, it's like they need more mom time.
Mm-hmm.
They need more from me.
I definitely have noticed that in my kids
Yeah.
too. And every kid is slightly different.
Yeah,
Some
100%.
actually are very verbal about it and say right away, hey, I need you more.
Yes.
And
Yes.
It makes it easier.
That's so much easier. Yes.
But others, that is exactly more their reaction to that situation.
Yeah.
is the
They just
point,
don't,
right?
it's almost like they are lacking a coping mechanism. And so the
Mhm.
only way that they can self-cope or self-manage is to like kind of pull back, you know?
Yeah, and that's, I think, too, the more you start talking with them about these things are so open earlier on,
Yes.
I think they do, like you earlier said, they will come to you more easy as they grow up.
You have to normalize mental health. You have to normalize like feeling not yourself today, feeling sad, feeling like all of those like really like core inside out feelings.
Yeah.
We just need to talk about it more. When that movie came out, I was like, oh my gosh, I've learned so much. This is amazing. Like just, just stupid things like
Yeah.
that. But honestly, like
Yes.
that was groundbreaking. And I feel like this is kind of like piggying back onto that culture of like, no, we need to talk about this. We need to be very aware of all of our feelings because right now they might not matter, but in 5-10 years, they are going to matter. And if you have the coping mechanisms in place and ways to verbalize how you're feeling to save people around you, then you're going to be so much more ahead.
To the caregivers that are listening to the show.
Yes.
What hope, what message, what would you like them to hear from you?
Okay.
Or to that younger version of you that was
those
sitting there
crying,
in that hopeless
yeah.
moment.
Yes. I would say to any caregivers that have a child or someone close to them that are struggling, I would really try and reinforce that there's no blame to be given at all. Because as a parent, I think you naturally absorb a lot of guilt and a lot of blame and a lot of shoulda, woulda, couldas. And that's so unfortunate because had I dropped that in the very beginning, I feel like I would have just been able to show more love to the whole family. Because when my son was struggling so bad, I kind of started struggling too.
Is there actually, this reminds me of a little story you shared with me before.
Okay.
And I wonder if you could, or would you
Yes.
feel willing to share again?
So at the time, I'm just going to framework it really quick. During this time in my life, like this is when we were kind of self-isolating as a family and just really like the deepest form of like survival mode. And so I knew I was alone. And I had the house to myself. And so I just kind of went in my room and I just lost it. Like the nasty sob that no one should ever see you cry. Just when you're by yourself and you just have so much pent up frustration and anger and hurt on the deepest level, I just was crying. I just let it all out. And my older son happened to come home during that time. And he walked in, and I think as a teenage boy, he was just like, oh no, what did I walk into? And but he came over and put his arm around me, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. You should not be seeing this. Because as a parent, you also want to try and be so strong and put on like a brave face, like everything's okay. In fact, from this moment, a phrase in our family was born that it's okay to be not okay. And we've really adapted that in our family because genuinely, I was not okay at that point. And my son, who has mostly seen me strong, saw that weakness and saw that vulnerability in that moment. And it changed how he looked at the situation. And from that day on, he was so much of a bigger and active support to me, which was important, but even more importantly, to his brother. And he started showing up for his brother more. And he started working out with his brother. And that was like a big shift in our family after that moment, because he kind of took on this like, I can do more. My mom is losing it. I can do more. I can be more helpful. And I can be a better brother because obviously my mom needs help. And so I think asking for help, you mentioned about advice for other caregivers, is identifying when you're not okay and reaching out for help. Because the longer I've been in this space is so many people are in similar situations.
Yeah.
And so many people will rally around you and be there for you and support you. When I was vulnerable with Jill on that reformer one day, like she would call randomly and just check in. And it, quite frankly, Jill, meant the world to me.
I'm such a hugger, and there's this big microphone.
This is very hard for us.
I'm like, I need to just give a little touch.
Yes.
And thank you so much for sharing.
Of course.
Can I
Very
ask?
vulnerable.
Yeah.
At the time when all of this was happening, how old were your youngest?
Oh, so they were tiny. So they are 7 now. So this was probably like 3 years ago.
Okay.
So they were like 4. They were still so tiny. And even at their young age, I wish they would have had this information, because I guarantee they would have been able to verbalize more, because our whole family felt the weight of this. When I wasn't okay, like, the saying, when mom's not okay, the family's not okay.
Yeah.
Like, that is really real. And so, yeah, but when I was able to kind of like pull myself off the floor, and we finally started getting some answers for him, and we finally started kind of putting the pieces back together of our new normal. We did start tackling it head on. Like, hey, when you see your brother like this, he needs more love. He needs more hugs. He needs you just to be with him. He, even just to sit with him, like, and then so everyone, it was such a tender mercy in our family, because then everyone kind of rallied around him. And it was, as a mom, there was nothing sweeter to watch and be a part of. And my husband and I were also like, we would talk often about how grateful we were for the twins, because the twins were at such a sweet age that they would be the ones to hang out with him on the weekends. And it was kind of like the 3 of us, because the other kids were a little bit older. And so like they became his kind of like lifeline, meaning they would be like, hey, go hang out with the twins. Like go be with them. They want to go catch bugs. They want to do this. And like, he would just start taking that as like, oh, I'm needed. I'm wanted.
Yes.
I serve a purpose. And that's also something I would probably share with caregivers.
And I think that's such an important point, because we talk about it during one of our episodes, actually, with, in fact, it's our episode that we have on envy, but it's about, building that self-worth, that intrinsic self-worth in kids. And one of the ways is teaching them that they have a role in the family, and that it's an important role, not like a made up sort of like thing that you just made up, but something that like, if it doesn't get done, nobody else can do it.
Right.
And it's like their special contribution to the family.
I love that.
And so it sounds like that's exactly what.
That is for sure what we started implementing, is just everyone has a role. And when he started feeling that worth, that helped for sure. Whenever we would start having some Saturdays and some more days he would pull back, I'd like, we need you. You're needed. These twins adore you, buddy. Like, go outside with them. And it was so sweet. The twins were for him, for sure.
And they're really needed exactly as they are.
Yes.
Not any different. Just being you is okay. I notice that so often in my family. Everybody just has their position and their reason why they're them, exactly the way they are.
Yes.
And I'm sure your twins have learned so much through all this experience.
Yes, I feel like they're going to be better able to tackle some really strong emotions, because they've seen it firsthand. They've been around it, and we've all kind of had this huge learning curve together.
Yeah.
And sometimes for kids, which is exactly the parents that are listening right now, are most likely in that preschool age, but may not be. And so, but really that preschool age, a lot of what we're targeting is building their emotional vocabulary and literacy, and just so they can even articulate, right, what's going on.
Yes.
And it's because so often what I see is that in clinical practice is that with normal, emotions that come, they don't have the vocabulary, so they use behavior because that's their communication.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times in situations where I'm just going to give the example that your family went through, where like your son really needed so much support and attention that it may have taken away from the twins.
Oh, it did. For sure.
That, we see an uptick in behaviors. Yeah. Did you see anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually went to their school and was very honest about our current situation. And my twin girl, she seemed to better cope with it, where my twin boy, he struggled the most, and it was just acting out at school.
What specifically, like, were the teachers seeing, or did you see?
Just aloofness, not wanting to participate, being naughty on the playground.
Yeah.
And there was like a pushing incident, I think.
Yeah. It's real.
Yeah. Like, so.
And that's okay. That's him saying, I also need to be seen.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. And if it means I need to get in trouble, at least someone's noticing.
Yeah. I do feel very, very lucky that they had each other during that time, because I feel like they were able to kind of like be there, maybe not being able to name it at that time, but they were each other's comfort during that time as well. They share a room, and I would often like go check on them during the night when I was up late with my son or whatever. And the boy would have gone to the girl's bed and shared a bed during that time. And I think he just needed more, which is actually heartbreaking for me to know that I wasn't enough for everyone during that time, but
it's gotta feel so heavy as a mom, because I'm a mom and I feel like you can carry the world. That's how you feel, and can't.
Every night I went to bed thinking I was not doing enough. Every single night. I'm like, I did not give every kid what they needed. For sure. And it does weigh on you.
And you are the specialist in this area.
Right.
But like it does sometimes feel like, kind of like back to that story when she was saying she didn't think anybody was in the house that heard her cry. But something about this too, even the young kids noticing this is all real. These emotions are all real. My brother needs more help. I feel like they really do grow through it though too, that they get stronger through it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think we talk so much about modeling in our show and in our podcast, because that's, again, a big way that young kids learn to cope, to be, to speak, to just experience the world, is through the adults in their lives. And, obviously we don't want to be modeling. We talked about it in the sadness podcast of like, modeling it in a way where they feel like they have to take care of the parent.
No, yes.
But I also think that balance of them seeing like, oh, it's not just me that has big emotions. Like everyone has big emotions, and it's okay to cry. It's okay to not be okay.
It's okay to not be okay. Yes. Yeah.
And I have support, and I know what I can do to ask for that support.
I know how to verbalize.
Yes. And for the caregivers out there too, I guess that's like just so close to my heart too. I just want you to always know, and everyone, you're always good enough, just exactly the way you are, because that is the way you are. So you go into bed thinking, I'm not good enough of a mom. No, you are. That's what you could do. You just did what you needed to do.
Yes.
And this was it. Okay. So Kaycee, tell me and us a little bit about what you're doing.
Yes. Okay. It's called BIRL, and it is about being in real life, creating connections that have once been lost. We all know growing up younger, we were able to be outside and to be adventurous and to not have that digital noise and this pull of the screen. We were able to connect and make relationships and friendships that were beyond a screen. And right now, our kids are so addicted and attached to a screen. We're not anti-tech, for sure. Technology, there's a role for it. We're trying to teach kids and empowering kids to make better digital decisions, and really making them want something better and want something different for themselves. I want kids to be their own highlight reel. I want to engage kids and be in real life and be in the moment and be present and to really connect with their friends and the world.
So beautiful.
Silencing the digital noise and being so intentional with their time.
So how can our viewers find you?
Okay, so we're on
anything?
Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on all the platforms, which is sad enough because we're kind of like anti-social media, but that's how we have to. That's how we have to connect with our audience, and frankly, they're on there. Be in real life, yes. Show these kids, model the behavior that you want them to have, and it's really about being in real life and engaging and connecting and having relationships, like deep relationships where you can talk about important things and your emotions and stuff. And all of that's getting lost in this like digital noise, and it's sad and it hurts my heart. So we're going to change the world. Yes. We're doing it. We are doing it.
Well, thank you so much again for being on this podcast.
Thank you so much.
And thank you all for listening today. And I hope you'll tune in for the next Lulubug's podcast for parents that's coming up next week. And thank you for joining.
Bye, everyone.